wanted to get it right, trying to find some balance in my life. I never really put up a fight, and now I'm losing sleep. What if I lost touch? What if I'll never get it right? I try to follow my heart, but I lost it somehow. Wish that someone could say it'll all be okay. Just listen to me as I say. Listen to me as I slow it down. Dreams are yours if you want it. Enjoy the ride, 'cause those ups and those downs is what makes it worth it. Slow it down. Dreams are yours if you want it. Enjoy the ride, 'cause those ups and those downs is what makes it worth it. I never left a stone unturned, trying to find some love in this crazy world. I felt like I was never heard. All I wanted was to be loved. All I wanted was to be loved. Tell yours if you want. Enjoy the ride, 'cause those ups and those downs is what makes it worth it. Slow it down. Tell yours if you want the ride, 'cause those ups and those downs is what makes it worth it. What if I lost touch? What if I'll never get it right? I try to follow my heart, but I lost it somehow. Wish that someone could say it'll all be okay. Just
Yeah, it would help if I unmuted. I am so... Oh, man, tonight. Man, I tell you. Yeah, so mic check. That was the first a good mic check. And second of all...
We may have to cut the music a little early to get ready for our guest.
Yeah, hopefully get the audio working so we can actually hear what they're saying. So, we'll see.
Stephanie says it sounds great now. Okay.
Yeah, so I apologize for the silence until we're ready. Bear with us. Or is it pear with us?
Pear with us! Oh my goodness! You stole the groan.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Move to the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. We get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air get thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Feel the air get thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. So let us dance this night away.
Apparently, body positivity is shaping up in smartdoll land. It's Monday, April 17th, and this is your smartdoll news.
Hey, everybody!
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, we're starting a little bit late. We still have audio issues right now, and we apologize for any quality issues as we go into this. But we do have a guest tonight, and we couldn't hear them in our Bluetooth earbuds, and I literally searched everywhere for like the real normal way to split things and get anyway.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen, not in time. So we are happy to have you and with us this week. And before we get rolling in here, we will oh, this is not automated. We'll go to there. We are really glad to shout out to a few awesome people this week.
Thank you, Amy Zickerman. Thank you, the Barbie Witch, Lee, as always, Julia Christman, W. Corden, our secret smarty ninja, and Kiwi Collector and Jessica Geo.
Did we find hard G or soft G on that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I just assumed it was Geo.
Yeah, that does sound better. Anyway, yeah, thank you all so much. Your support means the world to us, whether it's in the super chats in our live streams or whether it's the super thanks afterwards or just the stickers. We love it. It really does. We just literally just did our taxes and we couldn't be doing what we're doing without you.
Definitely not.
So thank you so much. And I want to warn you all, the audio stream is already live. There may be a little bit of echo because we do have the guests coming through a speaker. Hopefully the equipment that we use is not sensitive. Barbie Witch, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Barbie Witch says, random... I gotta set that up. All right. Random act of cash disbursement because it makes the world better. We appreciate that. And at some point, I will fix the thing so we can actually see them on screen.
We got a little delayed reaction to Pear with us.
Yeah. So we have a guest here specifically because there's a lot of news tonight about the new plus size, the
pear-shaped doll.
Doll, and we wanted to get another perspective and really talk to the community and go, how did we react? So we are so happy to introduce, if I can find my button properly, Lizzie AKA BizBot.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hello. How is everybody?
We're doing well. I can see that my mic is definitely picking you up, but hopefully it's not too horrible and out of sync. Yeah, we shall see. People in the chat, let me know if it's going to literally drive people to suicide just to get away from our audio issues. Let me know, and I will try to fix. So
My voice has that effect on people.
So Lizzie, thank you so much for joining us. Can you let us know, let the audience know a little bit about yourself, who you are in the community, that sort of stuff?
So I am BizBot on the Discord server. I am 38 years old. I, as you can see, got my first smart doll the other day. She's sitting up there.
Oh, that's your first. I didn't realize that. You've been with us for a little while, so I didn't realize that you hadn't had one.
No. I've wanted a smart doll ever since Danny first started talking about them when he was going to make them robotic, and then it's just never happened. But now, finally, I have one, and I am finally part of the Smarty Party.
Yay! And who did you get?
I got Mirai and a power option head. So that's the power option head. The Mirai is off being face-upped.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Very cool.
And apparently chat wants to steal my shirt.
Oh, yes, your shirt is amazing. This is, I think this is going to be a lot of fun tonight. This is only our second time having a guest on the show, so thank you. Again, sorry for all the issues. We'll get it worked out as we go.
Now, we have a specific topic tonight, but we probably should have more members of the community on as we go. And now that we've got this part worked out, we should be able to do that. And we put out a call yesterday on the Discord to get somebody to come talk about the latest topic, and Lizzie volunteered.
Yeah, thank you so much for the last minute, sort of doing this, and it's awfully late for you at this point, so we appreciate it.
It's 20 past midnight, but it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I need a fire animation. So let's dig into the news. There's some little things to talk about. we didn't have time to say this, so I'll say this now. Lizzie, please jump in, whatever you want to talk. But if I cut anybody off, it's just like to keep the show moving. So let's dig in to some headlines. This girl appeared.
Yeah, she is just cool. I mean, I love that metallic frame. That is just amazing.
This is our first real look at a full metallic frame. And of course, we've got the clear body on top. It looks very cool. I've enjoyed playing with the blue frame underneath the clear. But this is fantastic. Lizzie, what do you think?
I just want to get my hands on that and stick some EL wire in it and just have it glow.
Yep.
Yeah, very
like
cool.
full on cyberpunk.
I hope he does the mecha hands in the metallic, like I had said that I would like to see, because you put those metallic hands on that body, it would look so cool.
I would watch that anime.
Yeah, done. So this is the first like real announcement. Let's just double check, make sure there's not any information here. He said, he actually did consider creating metallic vinyl, but unfortunately they don't have the resources to commit to it at the moment. So maybe that's something we'll see in the future.
Yeah, I think we did see a picture of a metallic head.
Yeah.
At one point. So.
Very cool. I think having, especially with Chaos, right? Like with Chaos and all the frame parts and stuff that you can get, and to get like mixing and matching skin tone with clear, with the like metallic frames and stuff, you can make such an interesting, unique doll.
Yeah, people are starting to do that now with because they got all those parts, all those shell parts and everything from the version 2, and they're starting to piece them together.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I would get like the clear and like paint on the inside, so then you could do like metallic that way. Because I mean, I paint models, so I have lots of metallic paint lying around. So
yeah, well, they're right. So you can, it does look really good though, like in terms of having it built as part of that. But considering the one thing I would worry about painting is just like dealing with the joints and things, and getting that right so that the joints are properly movable and you're not getting like chipped paint in the middle.
Right.
So being something there, it's kind of nice having it there. But yeah, it's fun. So it sounds like you like the cyberpunk aesthetic.
Yeah, I like the cyberpunk aesthetic. I'll be honest, I'm more fantasy era than cyberpunk. Most of the patterns I have are for like fantasy style, but I can appreciate the cyberpunk.
Yep.
I'm the same way.
I've played enough Cyberpunk Red and all the other RPGs that they do, so it's fine. It's fun.
So let's then take a look at that. That is, we don't have necessarily a clear timeline on that yet. But yeah, the big news here is not gonna see a vinyl shell for this right away. Let me remind me of my keyboard shortcuts. Oh, that's on the wrong window.
So there seems to be a conversation going on in chat over cyberpunk versus steampunk, and I love it.
I guess we're gonna have to do that, which is annoying, but that's fine.
I think steampunk's a little bit more fun to make than cyberpunk would be.
So we have another post here from Danny about the masks. Have you seen these things coming out in the Chaos?
Yeah, I was so sad I didn't manage to get anything Chaos, because I want some of those to put in light boxes on the wall, in a frame with a little light above them, just to sort of as art pieces.
Yeah, so these are the paint masks for dolls, and it seems like they're somewhat random as far as what you were getting, but a lot of people are doing the whole we're just gonna make shadow boxes.
Yeah, and he was doing them as sets. Like people were getting a set of masks.
Yeah.
But now he says that he's going to split them up because the poll said split them up. because that would mean more people could get them. So you might get one or two instead of getting, a handful.
Right. It is, he did, that's the cool thing about, Danny's doing a lot of Twitter polls these days, as long as they're relatively simple questions with like one, 2, 3, options. But it does seem like there seems to be a 30-60 split in most of the stuff he asks about, which is not like unanimous, but it's a very strong majority. Yeah, people seem to want them split up. I want the sets.
I think the set. I think they're cooler as a set, to me. Like, take some of those characters and just be able to put the process in a frame.
Yeah. Yeah, have like
that would be quite cool.
Do like get a blank sculpt of that, and then have the paint masks, and then have the a final head.
Yeah.
Very cool. But it is funny how many people are not. He did point out that most people are not using these. They're not using them for face-ups.
No, they make really, really cool art objects.
Looking at them again, I'm just thinking, turn them into Christmas tree ornaments and hang them on your tree at Christmas.
Cool and also kind of creepy.
You're right. But it could go with your style.
I'd happily hang doll heads on my Christmas tree.
Yeah. Okay. So like a nice mix of like, of paint masks and doll heads.
My other thought was use them as a face on a Cybergirl.
Right, yeah.
Like they've got their war mask or whatever.
No. I would create a helmet that's like the multi-faced helmet.
Like the triptych thing?
Yeah, like a triptych of smart doll faces in copper. Be very weird, but dramatic nonetheless. All right, let's see if I can change. There it is. Danny posted this. It's actually sort of a repost of a few things that he's posted in the past. Something about a little criticism and quality over quantity. We've already begun talking about, like, there's a deeper conversation here because I don't think a lot of people understand, but what are the high level takeaways or points that Danny was talking about here?
Basically, the difference between the culture that he is trying to establish is that the employee is first. Mm-hmm. And where we're used to being a customer-centric retail business would be, like the customer's first. The customer's always right. But Danny protects his employees, which make them happier and have them have a better quality of life and opportunity for growth. And that's different than the normal way here and the normal way in Japan.
Yeah. Now, Lizzie, I know that you're in the UK. How did this come across to you as far as the culture that you see?
I mean, we do still have a very much the customer is always right thing, and you treat your employees like disposable. I would rather have Danny's view on things. I mean, I've worked retail since I was 16, mm-hmm. so I have seen it all at this point. And thinking back to some of the customers I had, if I'd known the management was on my side, it would have been better and not as stressful.
Yeah, we've both experienced that in a number of ways in our combined probably decades of retail experience.
I've got decades on my own, right. So I think
same.
So yeah, I mean, that just Danny protects them and he tries to encourage them and develop them. And when you have employees like that, you get people that are feeling free to be passionate about what they're doing, and you get cooler, better quality stuff.
I mean, I would rather buy from a company that I knew treated its employees like people, and they weren't all crying in the stockroom because they just couldn't handle it anymore.
Right. Well, and for Japan, I mean, it's been an ongoing issue of the stress at work, even causing suicide, and there's there's a large phenomenon in the Japanese culture as well. So it's funny, it's odd, I should say, in that like Europe and America and Japanese have three different sort of, to some extent, economic systems, and but always find their way to this point of driving to, like, you know, driving their employees to the brink in order to make that initial sale.
I mean, it's all about the bottom dollar, the big buck, the pounds, and like entitlement is universal. So
Yeah.
you get those people like, I'm the customer, you have to treat me like a god, as Danny says. And unfortunately, due to the internet, that has become a much more prevalent thing because people can go online and leave reviews that just tank your rating. And then, of course, nobody wants to buy from you because it's like, well, this person had a horrible experience.
Yeah, there's so much to dig into here, and I think, we're working. Lizzie's actually volunteered to help us work on figuring out, you know, doing some research, figuring out a script, maybe, you know, like, or maybe it's not a script, maybe it's a round table. I don't know what we end up with, but a deeper dive into like some of the context around these issues that Danny's talking about. Because it's one thing to just say it, but it's another thing to really understand how
and why
we're here before we can think about changing it. And Danny's well familiar with a lot of that stuff, but so I look forward to that conversation. So we all of that is also has to do with one of the things that's been coming up lately is the fear of missing out, the entitlement that, like, we need our stuff now, and if it's not available, if Danny's prioritizing like his employees instead of making more stuff and growing for the sake of meeting demand, you know, Danny's been talking about, we've been talking about FOMO a whole bunch since this conversation has started, and I'm working on a t-shirt. It's not, Sandy was like, John, you need to get it done for tomorrow. And I made a valiant effort, but I still got some cleanup work to do. And I think we're pretty settled on the design, though. And that is this. This is the Slow Down FOMO Ahead shirt.
Chi on the turtle. How can you not get a shirt with Chi on a turtle? I mean, you know.
Yeah, there's so many things we've been going around like trying to figure out what the right thing to say is, and we haven't put it up yet, but I have the I understood the assignment shirt with like the Mirai having bought like every doll box ever. So there's the humorous side of us going, yeah, FOMO is real, and no regrets. Or there's the other ugly side of FOMO, which is, you know, the people who don't react the way that Chitose is reacting here. They're not happy about it. They get angry and start lashing out at the company and its employees.
Barbie Witch says, why isn't it ready? I want it right now. I think the chat in general very much likes this design.
But like going on to the FOMO thing, instant gratification is all about what our cultures are about nowadays. It's, you know, everything's instant. You can get it, like, using the House of Bezos as an example. Mm-hmm. You can order something and it can arrive that day. And it's sort of changed the way we think about waiting.
Yep. Expectations have changed. A power dynamic has changed between customers and the companies. And I think you're right. The internet and its level, the pervasivity of anonymity has massively changed a lot of this.
Kelly Poplar commented, just say no to FOMO did not work for that grop. We just had a big gray drop.
Yep.
It started out being, I think, 3 girls and was 6 by the time Danny was done with his coffee.
Yeah, so the hypocrisy is a little bit there, which is basically like, you know, if you can't it's like you can't handle the heat, stay out of the kitchen, is what Danny was saying. Because, like, yes, I get it, the FOMO is real, and I'm going to tease the hell out of you by just, like, every 10 minutes he was like, I'm going to drop another doll.
And then he's going, oh yeah, and I've been sitting here looking at these 4 Transcendence prototypes, and I'm going to put those in there too.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So now that we're talking about it, actually, I'll jump forward. How many times did I jump forward? All right, 2 stories. Remind me to go back.
Yes.
Yeah, so in the middle of that, he was like, hey, I got these 4 utterly unique prototypes of Transcendence, the vampire girl. I think I'm going to drop them. I don't want to put them in the prototype garage. I'm just going to drop them now. So, did we see a price?
Yeah, they were 99,000 yen.
Okay.
And the gray girls were like 89,000.
That's not bad.
No, he didn't up them that much. And they're coming with the new wig too. That new dark gray, which is pretty cool. And the red eyes. But I want a gray vampire girl badly. I didn't go for one of the prototypes because I thought I want the one that they decided was the one to go to market.
So you're not like the collector who like, you don't collect for like, I want the misprints, you know?
No, I want the right one. I want the one that Danny decided was ready.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the one I want.
The official one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's different when there's a really unique prototype of a doll that we're not going to see, but these are trials of Transcendence that we know. I mean, they're pretty close to what the final version is.
Yeah.
So I just might as well get the final version.
He's tweaking tiny little color details on these.
Yeah.
I would say if it was a big difference and I really liked it more than what I knew was coming, then absolutely I would be going after it. I want to me, it would be like the version that I connect the most with.
Right.
I don't need to have the normal thing, but
Yeah.
Are you getting a vampire girl?
If she comes not in grey.
Oh, she's gonna.
She's coming out in cinnamon. We've seen her bajillion times. So, yeah, I think it's at least going to be cinnamon and gray. We've actually seen Coco, too.
I bet you he'll release in everything at least once.
Yeah, I'm quite tempted by a Coco girl for a vampire because I just like that idea.
She's very cool.
She really is.
The teeth pop nicely.
I know the little. I just keep looking at it, and I just remember thinking of, oh, look at the little teeth. Because she's got these little. She's
Sometimes
really
my
cute, but also-
teeth.
Sometimes my lips get stuck on my teeth.
Yeah. She's
I was
really
gonna
cute, but also really ethereal, which is really weird juxtaposition for me.
Yeah.
So these dolls, obviously, that was just the 4 of them. And so if you didn't get that, if you weren't on that, you might have some FOMO because if you wanted one. But the other dolls, Danny was very clear to emphasize that all the other gray girls that he was dropping would be coming back.
Yeah. Made it abundantly clear. Like, don't worry, they're coming back.
I mean, he even said, I like gray more than I liked blue. And, so gray is going to be around for a while and these dolls are coming back. And then I was on Facebook and not like a few minutes after the drop, there's people going, if anybody gets their gray girl and decides they don't like her, let me know and I'll buy it. I mean, and I saw at least 3 or 4 of those.
Just gotta have it.
And it's like, I just constantly replied, Danny said there will be more. Don't stress over it,
I mean, when I see stuff like that, I'm reminded of Violet Beauregard in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I want it now.
I want it now, Daddy.
Yes.
I want to know but now, Daddy.
Yeah, all right, so you're better. That's fine. Thanks. So let's go back a couple of stories here, if I can find my mouse. So he also, I just want to point out that Danny talked about the frames, and I don't think we talked about this last week, but the frames are. He wanted to be able to put out just sell bodies, but it currently is not going to happen. And so his alternative is that he's going to make kits like he did this past week. And you're either going to, he wanted to figure out, are people looking for, like, would they be happy with a cheaper kit that's where you cut the vinyl yourself, like a chaos kit,
Or would you rather pay a little more and have them do the cutting, but it would be slower?
Right, and it would be less available because we'd have to do that. I'm sure he's going to do some of both, but it is telling that, I mean, most people are not comfortable with cutting vinyl. I can do it, and I'm not happy. It's good enough, but I'm always afraid of, like, I don't know how they get those, the feet boggle my mind. That beautiful, like, I think they must go back in and do something on the edge of it afterwards to treat it, but it just looks so beautiful, and I'm like, I can't, there's always jagged things, I can't do it.
I mean, I was in the 38.7% that wanted the uncut vinyls, because vinyl's actually really easy to cut. Like, if you get, like, the cones of shame, you can practice on it and then get really, like, used to it.
Yeah.
But
it's all about
deal
heat.
With resin.
I have tremor issues on my hand, and probably I probably need to swap my blade like every time I do it, but like, you get it hot enough. At some point this past year with like getting into 3D printing and such, I got an actual heat gun. It takes like 30 seconds with that thing, and that, like, any vinyl is just like mush and just butter, and it goes right through. It's really good.
Yeah, as I say, I deal with, like, resin kits and, like, 3D printed models and things like that. So, like, cleaning stuff up I'm used to at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw people in the chat saying, oh, I've got really shaky hands, I can't do it. I have really shaky hands. I got myself, it's called a hobby helper. It's a little magnifying glass with little, like,
with
crocodile
clips.
And you stick it on the desk, put the thing in it you
hold
want to
it up
cut,
more?
and it...
There you go. Thanks.
And, like, you can get them really cheap in, like, hobby shops and on the internet.
Those are great.
And, like, yeah, it's also good for, like, painting small things, you know, all sorts of things.
The other trick that I have found with cutting vinyl is again, it's all about heat, and it's all about, for me at least, and maybe this is backwards, or maybe I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to be doing. For me, it's never about moving the knife. It's about I try and move basically maneuver the sculpt onto the knife, so that the knife isn't doing tiny little things, but have a little bit more broader control over it.
Yeah, and also, like, it's a bit like when you're peeling an apple and you're trying to get the core, like the peel off all in one.
Right.
You're constantly moving it and doing
Moving
it like that.
both.
Yeah.
And you do it in little incrementals. Like, everyone's always like, oh my god, I've got a piece of uncut vinyl, I have to take the whole thing off at once. No, just do small, and because it's easy to take off, but it's really hard to put back on.
Put back on.
But hey, is it a feature or is it a bug?
So that will be coming soon, hopefully. We also have another, just a tease. Lots of little teases here this week.
Oh, Danny, you tease.
Yes, he is. I think we talked about making a T-shirt really early on that was just like, "Come on, Danny," or something like that. And it's like, I feel like that's what we're all like yelling at Twitter constantly. We've got the tracheostomy tube.
Yes.
The basic sketch for it.
And with that, which looks really cool, and actually could be a very cool piece to go with, like, a cyber doll.
Yeah.
You could do neat kinds of things with it. But that is another medical device that Danny has decided to do. And he also said that he's going to be making the medical device pattern
The
files,
STL file,
the
yeah.
STL files available for people to make their own stuff.
Yeah, I just, one of the things that, especially with Danny putting, letting, like, the discussion about, like, quality over quantity and things like that, I feel like Danny is trying more and more, and I think he's getting better about how he communicates it and how clearly it is, and doesn't feel like a fight nearly as much. It is like Danny is just trying to be really hyper clear about his values, who he is as a company, and what he's doing, and if you align with those values, those are the customers that he wants, and he's okay. You know, he's not trying, as he's named one of the dolls, he's not trying to be everything for everyone. And this is a great example of him doing something that makes him very little. Like, this is not going to be a big seller. This is going to be, he's doing it. He's going to give them away to people who actually use it. And he's going to give out the file so other people can print it for themselves, or even print it on their, and paint them themselves and put it on their own shop.
Yeah, I mean,
this is why I like Danny's company, because he cares about people that are not seen by most other big companies.
Yeah. I did notice in the dolls, the dolls subreddit, somebody posted about having like it was a Barbie with a hearing aid, and I was like, it's lovely to see mainstream, doll companies starting to do this, and not just it being left to boutique companies like smartdoll. It's good. It's good to be leading the pack in this regard.
he talked about the fact too that some of the things that he does, like he has all the dolls, the frontline girls, the dolls with differences, have pretty much been available all along while we were waiting for the new body to come out. He had them available, they've been available, but people didn't buy those. People were waiting for certain dolls to come out, and they didn't want the dolls with differences, and it's because of the idea of perfection. Some people have an idea of perfection, but Danny is not about that. He's about making changes and showing people as they are. And that's what we're getting into.
Hi, kid. What's the kitty's name?
This is Coulson.
Hi, Coulson.
Say hi to people.
Hello, internets.
Boop.
Yeah.
Oh God, cat derailment. I don't know. What were you saying?
I was saying that Danny has started to, show people as they really are in his dolls. He doesn't care about the fact that most people just want to buy the perfect girls.
Yeah, I'm still really torn about the people, the choice to buy, Pride and take her acne off.
Yeah.
But I do also realize, in the end, the doll is your doll, and you're gonna, I've bought kabukis and completely wiped their face. So, it was to make a variation, to have
and
a variation.
You have another kabuki.
Yeah.
It's not like you bought just one and decided you didn't like it.
I guess what irks me about it, if anything, it's like what you do with your dolls is your business. It's the and not that it irked me, but it makes me a little bit uncomfortable when it's, look at how beautiful I made her. And I'm like, no, she was gorgeous before. This was unnecessary. If it's what you wanted, great. But, let's not make this now it's better.
No, seeing Kate's Pride at DollCon Dallas, I was smitten with her.
We are hooked.
Yeah.
I think Pride is beautiful, and I would love a Pride, but, I had other dolls and characters I wanted to do first.
Yeah.
So Pride is on the list. She's just not here yet.
Really, they're pretty much all on my list. It's just, where are they on the list? Just like you were saying.
Well, I have two lists then. It's all of them, and then the who's really actually bubbling up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And right now, for me, there's two people on that list, and it's Beyond and Pride. And they're not so high up on the list that it's we need to have her, and then I'm ready to pay for her now.
Right.
But they're up on that list of, I'm gonna have her at some point.
I need the vampire girls in gray and cinnamon, and then Future in cocoa and tea.
I just want as many vampire whatever variations. We'll probably end up trying to buy any doll he puts fangs on.
I mean, vampire boy, please.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely yes.
Just take my money.
All right. Let's. This has been a lot. I should have just cut out most of those things because I do have to remind myself that we started late. But let's dig into the real conversation for this episode. Sorry, people. The pear-shaped or plus-sized smart doll.
So yeah, this was the first iteration that Danny decided to show everybody.
And this, I believe, is looking at a Coco. It would have been a little bit easier if he had done not a Coco next to her, because in terms of comparing the silhouette. But this is comparing a Coco Girl regular smart doll versus its new. You can see the that this is a 3D prototype. You can see the striations in the
She's
belly
got stretch
there.
marks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
Yeah, I'd give Gibby.
So there's a journey here. We've got a bunch of like sort of posts to go through for the week. But the reaction to the first one was, I think, strong,
Mixed.
and in some regards, some overly strong and a bit like not productive, and some really productive. But let's talk about personally. Lizzie, how did you feel about this when it first came up?
When it first came up, because Danny talked about doing the plus size smart doll, and I was like, oh yes, please. And then when I saw this, it's good, but it isn't what I would class as plus sized. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's the first prototype, so of course it's not the final iteration. But just part of me was like, that's just a slightly more muscular girl.
I said to myself, I mean, I definitely see the pear shape, and if you look at the doll side by side and you look at each piece, her waist is much thicker. She has a little bit more of a soft belly. Her hip is a little bit wider. Danny did say that, you know, the standard bust is what really makes her a pear. If you put a bigger bust on it, it stops looking as
It becomes a bit more hourglass, I would assume.
Yeah, or even rectangular, like
Yeah.
depending on which boob you're using. But also, the arms didn't work as well. They work fine with the standard bust. This looks good. It looks about like probably, I would say, a US 10-12 rather than like a 6.
I guess the sad thing
Yeah.
is this is technically plus size. Like,
Yeah, and like, considering the representation of plus size fashion dolls is... It's a great step, and I liked it. I loved the fact it was happening and what it represented. But, like, I'm plus sized, and that's not what I look like with my clothes off.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much me at, you know, close to my ideal weight.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I probably last looked like that when I was about 13. So, a while ago.
That is the interesting thing to me. Like, I looked at it as, I was like, I knew something wasn't quite right, but I was heavily focused on shapes, proportions. And I think proportionately, he actually nailed the pear shape quite well. But what everyone kept talking about was, it like, well, some people are like, there's no difference, which you're not really paying attention if you don't see any difference, but there's not enough of a difference, clearly, to make them stand out from each other, to make it feel like it's so hard though. Like, what's the right thing? Like, there's so, like, everyone has such varying body types. It's like, how far, like, my big questions were, how far can he push this, like, technically, with his frame and what he's capable of doing, what it's capable of supporting, and before having to change, like, I wasn't even sure he was willing to change the arms. Like, how much
Right.
are we looking at, like, you know, how much effort are we, you know, is he willing to put into this to get it to a particular place? And then, what group are you going to try and please? Like, what body type is going to be enough with the biggest group?
right. And I think one of the things we have to remember about this, Lee made a comment that said, I can't really exercise and I'm very plus size. Seeing this body described as plus size was painful. And I think one of the things it's pear shaped. And I think we're trying to get away from calling it the plus size body, even though it has gone more in that direction, because he has Smart Doll Plus and it just makes it confusing. And he is looking for a new name for this body. But the other thing I wanted to say about that is, and it's something that I was talking to Kat about it on the phone the other day. One of the things we have to look at with this body is it's not just about pear shape. This body represents everybody who is not a perfect supermodel size 0 or 2, you know? So, I mean, you could be really, really super slender without a lot of curves. You could be you could be like in the middle of a transition, or you could be like anything like that where your body is not that standard, like what we think of as stereotypically beautiful shape. It's for all of us. It's for all of us that don't fit that mold.
This is like medical obese term, you know? It's the weird lines that we draw at different points in the like I'm obese, don't carry that way, but I'm obese. Like the lines we draw in society, but versus the reality of who we are and how we feel about everyone else.
For me, when Danny said he was working on a smartdoll plus size pear shape, I was expecting more of a Rubenesque figure. Like the old paintings of Rubens and things, you see the models in those, they are plus sized.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they have rolls and they have bits that sort of jiggle in different places. They're not like just smooth and athletic looking, and they look like real people.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, as you say, you're not going to please everybody because there's so much diversity in body shape, sizes, way people carry weight, and things like that. But just on the one that he posted there, it just felt like all he'd done is gone into it and just transformed it by bringing the scale up a little bit. Which is fine.
Probably,
but
yeah.
Not sort of what we thought, well, not necessarily what I thought he was meant by plus size. There we go.
So this started to shift in the conversation, and like I really love this whole story this week because it shows, and it was I guess we'll call it a teachable moment. And yes, it's a teachable moment for Danny, but that's not who I'm talking about. It's a teachable moment for the community in how to ask for what they want and need and to express themselves in a constructive manner. And we got somebody who was like, you know what? Let me open up. I'll show you how Sims 4 does this. Let me show you what this looks like. So it's this combination of both real but also not real. It wasn't like, here's a real person. It was, here's how someone has modeled it, you know, in a way that works.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at that first girl in the pink bikini. Her belly button is a little bit wider and more stretched out. That happens when you start to get some more weight down there. Everything kind of spreads out. You get those stretch marks, you know.
And she's got the little sort of pouch poot thing underneath it where you've got the little bit of just indentation because the belly curves down a bit more.
Yep.
This is really cool from my perspective because it balances realistic with fantasy pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
she
it's-
definitely has a larger bust, but she still comes off as pear-shaped because her hip is significantly wider. And then the second one is more what I think of when I picture a pear shape. Like, because her bust is not quite as big. But her hip is also not quite as big either. But I don't know.
That's somewhere, I think, between the first one that we saw and the one on the left. And I have a feeling, though, if you think about it, like, if you only do one, where should you aim? Like,
I think closer to the one in the pink, the left pink there.
I was like, they're both pink.
Yes, they're both pink, but the other one's got white. In the actual bikini.
Yeah.
I think that's probably closer to where you should go. I was concerned a little bit about, like, I don't particularly like that one. And it's because it reminds me of a lot what they do with a lot of BJDs. It's like, it looks more like the mochiashi, where the thigh is significantly wider and it comes off looking, I was concerned that kind of looks more, I don't know how to say it, but it looks more fantasy.
It's more exaggerated and unrealistic.
Yes.
And yet probably realistic for somebody.
Right.
But
it's still
not enough to sit there and go, more people are going to relate to this.
Yeah, I mean, on a human, definitely you could see that and you wouldn't go, that looks like a fantasy creature. But on a doll that's not actually, you know, flesh and blood and moving around and all of that stuff, it looks a little bit more fantastical that particular shape.
So here's some of the other ones. He did settle after that on using, what did he say about this? He basically asked people, like, give me images. Like, that was his big thing. Show me what you want and what you're talking about. And this ended up being, he says, you've spoken, and this is the way. And he is going, he's actually committing to modeling after this, at least at the start.
Mimico Minis made a good comment about what I was trying to say about that other image, and they said, yeah, it doesn't flow into the thighs. It's like
she has a very tight waist.
She has a tight waist and like fairly muscular, like, and then all of a sudden thighs.
Yeah.
There's no gradual transition.
Yeah, and I don't think you could actually pose a smart doll if her thighs were like that.
Well, that's the thing. He actually he needs a gap.
Yeah.
And they've got to be balanced. That my brain kept. I do like it. We haven't really. I'm sure we will, but we haven't heard too much in terms of the feedback from Danny in terms of what are the limitations that he's finding. Mm-hmm. Like what. But every time someone pushed it farther, he was like, "No, it looks like I can do that." So great.
I mean, she's going to have to be, like he's been talking about, like getting all the dolls into soft vinyl. I have a feeling she's going to have to be like entirely soft vinyl because you're going to run into a point where like the thigh is going to meet that belly and you're still going to want to be able to get that range of movement without everything getting smacked. Like it'll just have to squeeze in. And you don't want, like that. You wouldn't have as much movement if the vinyl is hard and you're trying to bring those legs up.
Well, it's the same as having a real plus-size body. When you sit down, like your thighs do smush together and they smush your belly a bit. So, as you say, the softer vinyl for like the torso and the thighs, doesn't seem that unreasonable.
Right, I'm just saying that was like a. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just saying because you could still do the regular vinyl for like the parts of the arms and the lower parts of the legs. Because the soft vinyl is what they use on the hands and feet, isn't it?
And the bust.
Feet. Yeah. I guess feet technically.
Yeah, maybe, but you can't really. Yeah. But it's more the bust and the hands are that soft.
I think the feet, yes, but the way the feet is, it's actually quite solid in sections. It's thicker in areas, so it feels different. But yeah. All right, so we now have a new work in progress. We've got a couple more. He is now latched on to Hilda, the plus size pinup girl.
I love Hilda.
And the early signs of this new silhouette of the torso is, I would guess, I mean, maybe it's just serendipity that they align with both this reference photo but it also very much aligns with the Sims 4 that we saw earlier.
Mm-hmm. And I love that there is a softness, like an amorphousness to like the belly and everything. Like you can see texture in it, and I really like this a lot.
Yeah, I admit to getting a little teary-eyed when I saw this because it was like, that looks like me. It's not exact, but I looked at that and felt seen.
You felt, I know this girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have an interesting feeling about this because, like, I really like it and I'm very moved by it and I want one. But my general thing is, like, I got into Smart Doll to have them wear the things and do the things that I don't do. I like the fantasy of it. So I actually like the body the way it is, but I value this concept.
You've never seen it as personal not representation of who you are on the outside, but you see them as representation of who you are on the inside.
On the inside more than the out, yeah.
I think for me, I am pretty much permanently in a wheelchair, so my smart dolls could already do things I can't do, which is stand up. So having a smart doll that looks a bit more like me and then is able to do things that I can't do would just be really good in like the headspace. Mm-hmm. I'm not entirely explaining that correctly, but when you're in a wheelchair, it's sorry to be a bit of a downer. You're not seen by society. Like, most of the world is not accessible in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And to see that Danny's going, you know what? I can make the world a bit more accessible, and actually doing it is huge.
That is, and it's like, it's so good to see him doing, it's like you could see the limits of it, obviously, but it is like, this is somebody who is continuing to just make as much of an impact as they can.
I will say this body, I'll be able to do a mini-me like that. Like, whereas with a regular smart doll, I don't look like that. But this, I could definitely, my mini-me will probably be on this body when it comes out.
As very much, so we've got the original thing we saw, the first slide, next to the new one. Big difference. You already can see the widening of the belly button you talked about is there. This looks all so good. He kept coming out though. Somebody asks, I think he actually, he talks about it later, but somebody asked about patterns, and he's like, absolutely, we're gonna make new clothes for us, and we're gonna get measurements early for people, and they're gonna get patterns out there for free. He is definitely committing to making sure that we don't want this to end up like a guy doll, where you have a guy doll and you can't get clothes for it, right?
Yeah. So that it'll have regular clothes, and it will have, the patterns will be getting out early so that people with businesses or just people that want to have wardrobes ready can get ready for this doll, which is really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. I'm sure there are a lot of businesses that will add this to their repertoire, but I can't wait to see if any businesses crop up focused solely on this. I don't know if they'll get... I don't know if they can afford to, if the market is going to be big enough. We don't know how many he's going to make and how many is going to sell, and what really, we don't necessarily see this body taking over as the smart doll body. So the sheer number of people, maybe not big enough, but I just wonder, like, what is the what's the term? I'm going to say the Etsy market, and that's not what I mean, but like the, not secondhand, but the crafters, the people, the sellers,
the small businesses
built around this. How do they adapt to this new world once it comes out?
I would say that a pop-up, like the online equivalent of a pop-up shop, is going to do very, very well when this body is getting ready to launch. Like, if you put up a small store where you've been just working on pear-shaped body clothes, you could probably make a good chunk of money right off the top, and then you're going to have to mix it up,
So hopefully people are able to adapt to this sooner. I mean, I guarantee you Elite Doll World will adapt to this ridiculously fast, because the adapting, the stretchy knits that she works with anyway to a slightly different silhouette is probably, I think her stuff is simple enough.
And I think the tops and things like that done in knits are going to fit.
Yeah.
Even with the other changes that we probably have pictures of.
Maybe.
But the other thing to take into account is that some of the doll clothes out there are oversized on a regular smart dolls. So would they maybe fit the pear-shaped body?
Yep. And there's all kinds of stuff that's in every average person's wardrobe now, like the peasanty tops and things like that, like what I have on, like this loose top. Everybody of every size has this, so there's probably like things that they can make that will fit both bodies.
Or some of the, I have stuff that is that I got early on when I didn't really understand sizing quite well enough, that were SD, is it SD13 or like it was just it was a boy's size or something like that, and there might be, you might even be able to, it would be very interesting to see if something like boys, like SD13 boys ends up being a good, for certain pieces, ends up being a good fit or something.
And skirts and things, as long as they'll stretch over the waist, we'll be fine.
I just think it's such an amazing thing that he's doing. Even if he only makes a couple of hundred of them, it's still going to be amazing that they're out there.
It is. And it, like, we could see this coming together. I'm going to go past this quickly because he keeps revealing more, but we could see the thighs starting to now get added in. And that looks good.
When I saw these pictures and them sort of coming out, it reminded me of like a game of Hangman. You know, you start drawing it and you just like... just thought it was like... Oh, this one is just...
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
How do we... I have questions. Now,
We might have answers.
I don't think it's a concern, but the big question mark for me is how do the busts work with this? Like, you know, now that we've got this and we've got a new bust model, then we're changing everything. Are we getting a doll that's not compatible with the old busts? And maybe they are compatible, but will they look right? You know, like there's going to be interesting question to see, like, are we going to be able to go through the multiple bust size that we have and actually get some customization, again, more representation for you, adding in not just the overall shape but the bust size, and have it visually work?
I'm sure that's a lot of stuff that Danny is considering, because in terms of like how much resources he has to put towards this doll, like, you know, like he doesn't want to make, you know, too many wheels, basically. And I think that he will probably be tweaking. Like, he already did the adventure bust and then decided it wasn't come out. They're probably still tweaking the busts, you know, and maybe he'll try to keep this girl in mind as that's being done, you know.
And also, like, with the way the busts work, because, you know, obviously you haven't got that line halfway down them, and it sort of cups the body, I guess, is the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pun not intended, but, you know, there. Maybe all he needs to do is make the spine, like, one thing taller. So then they'll be the same height, but the way the bust sits on the body, it's a little bit high up.
Right, so to get it to the right...
So
the problem is like,
play.
we with the evolve frame, we're not... It would be changing out a piece of the spine because we don't have the... You know, you're talking about the old, like, orange... you know, spine things that bend. With the evolve frame, there's like I don't know, like an inch long piece in there. It's like a 2-piece spine that is all going like with two joints inside the spine. So it works a little bit differently than it did before. But to that point, I think his goal is to not change the frame. I would assume, like, relatively, but he might be able to, though, easily change out one piece of the frame using their molding, their injection molding techniques, and how they're able to quickly adapt and make another piece for this particular one. We do know she is shorter. Not a huge amount, but she is shorter than the regular doll.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure where that's coming from.
I suppose maybe he is having to adjust things because the legs will attach, because obviously there's more of a space. So maybe it's because of the hips and the wider holes, and he's going to have to adjust how the legs connect to the frame, maybe?
Yeah, well, we knew it was shorter from the first one that he did. So my suspicion is if either it's a choice that he just made, or that it's something to do with its torso and lower. It has nothing to do with like the bust and up, but it's like the hip area or something where he ended up making him a bit shorter. Or it's just he felt that it might also it might also be an optical illusion so that he doesn't have to change as much. So that, like, the dolls are way too tall. They're unnaturally tall. So you can get the better proportion of that body to look better if their legs aren't so long. It'll be interesting to see where that comes in. But I mean, we're probably talking like it's not all that noticeable.
Yeah, because I didn't really notice much difference in the height between the one that he showed next to the Coco girl, but maybe that's not when it got shorter. Maybe it's got shorter after that.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. As I think there's one more here.
So here we have developing the arm.
Yep.
So he realized that he did need to make a fuller arm.
And the first shot at the side
Yeah.
of everything, which looks great.
Like the extra volume under the bust is very, so under the arm is very nice. And just the shape of the way the body is, like the way the skin goes and everything is just, it's very pretty, Danny.
It really is.
I wonder if he would. I mean, there's a whole hey, that's all right. Name ideas. We should be talking about names at some point. But I just realized, I'm like, the difference between the old one and the new one. Most people's arms aren't like that. It's just a tube, basically. It's not exactly, but the old arm is fairly simple. Mm-hmm. And it would be interesting. And I was thinking maybe it would be interesting if he worked backwards from this body at some point to make some changes and more realism, possibly, in the normal doll. But then I realized, hey, it's anime versus semi-real.
Mm-hmm.
It's a semi-real body.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. And I mean, I just love the way we're seeing the way the light plays on that and everything. I just think it's good. It's really good. And I know it's going to get better, but it's really good.
I want to say that there was a couple of things to note here. So there's a progress questions. Will she be shorter? Well, yes, slightly. Will she have a new wardrobe? Yes, and we will release 3 patterns. Will we make new heads for the body? It says, I prefer to use the current heads, but if the balance is off, and he means design, visual balance. I don't think he means they're going to fall over.
Right.
If the balance is off, he'll consider making ones that better fit the new balance. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Or maybe at least one new Hilda-esque sculpt.
Oh, please, yes.
Oh my gosh,
Hilda
retro
sculpt.
fashion on this? Like I'll go back to my Gertie books and make 50s style fashion for her.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be so good.
Like one like new head for the plus size body would be amazing. But I do think a lot of the current heads will fit. Maybe not the sort of more thinner pointed faces, but like you've got the sort of cutesy like rounder face girls. I'm trying to think of Power for one, actually.
Monday would work really well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Monday would work really well.
List.
Future would work really well.
I was trying to decide anime or semi-real. What makes the most sense? And my brain says bigger features, anime actually could do well. And I think especially clothed. But the realism of this, I think I would prefer semi-real sculpts that just match a little bit more the actual curves, the details that are in the body.
How about a nice gamer girl with pride on this body?
Ooh. Yes, please.
Danny's like, I must make gamer chair for smartdoll.
Oh, yes.
No. Wheelchair first, please, Danny.
Yes, wheelchair first. We've been waiting a very long time.
And because we are talking about being inclusive and stuff like that, and you're someone who has said that you spend time in a wheelchair, do you feel it needs to be a traditional wheelchair, or are you like into what I talked about, like making something more like what Professor X rides around in that looks more spacey?
I would like both because I have a manual and a power chair. So I have an engineer that I live with, and he has been trying to design like a remote control power chair for my dolls for years. So that's doing that. But I have also been looking into making one of the folding ones because I thought, hey, if you want to go out and take photos, a big bulky like RC car-esque thing ain't gonna be the greatest.
Yeah.
So like one of the just like folds in, goes in a bag, and you're away.
But man, now that you say that, a remote control wheelchair would be so amazing for the dolls. Like just or Danny, after the wheelchairs, after Mario Kart.
To be fair, you could just get like a Barbie RC car and stick your smart doll in the top.
But it's not, yeah. Don't.
There's actually a post on Smart Doll Land release announcements right now. So
Wait, is there Is there check-ins? Do I need to play it?
Okay.
Do I need to play it?
It applies to the FOMO we were talking about earlier, so let's do that.
Okay. So, Danny, I mean, this is, I'm just looking for opportunities, I guess, but this is not gigantic. But somebody asked Danny, would it be possible to alternate the timings for some of your gray girl drops I almost said gay girl drops. Woof, that's fine too, Danny. I think he would argue that they all are very happy. They would, it seems like, this is somebody asking for UK friendly. Sure, people in Europe as well. It's a little rough. What did he say?
And it was a polite question. You know, it wasn't. Yeah. This is an example of expressing your concern without being a jerk. Hi, Danny. Would it be possible for you to alternate the timing of some of your Grey Girl drops in the future? They all seem to happen in the wee hours of the morning for the UK, the last one being about 3:30 a.m., which makes it difficult to join in, with a big smiley face.
Yeah. Okay, so then Danny says, when the UK wakes up, we leave work. So the only way to orchestrate the drops would be to ask the team to stay behind and work late, which I can't do. We need to monitor orders live for fraud, monitor the website for server load, etc. So it does require us to be around during a drop. So this is another explanation of, like, we get, especially nowadays, probably even more so, he's doing it mostly in the mornings, which gives him that long tail of the Japanese day to deal with all of the stuff that he's describing. He used to do it like a couple hours before they left for work or left work. And that put us at the middle of the night, which would be probably morning for UK.
Like early morning, yeah.
But that is probably the first time that we're really seeing some of the reasoning behind that shift. It's not just literally, let's please the Americans.
Again, it's him prioritizing his staff and their health and happiness.
Yeah.
Which
this was a good answer. It was a good question to ask and a good answer that explains a lot.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's great. Well, it's not great for everyone in the UK, but he did. Where did he say? He did talk about the need. Oh, in that post that we mentioned earlier, right? Mm-hmm. About he has still looking into, not necessarily going to happen, but still looking into doing things like, an actual doll making wing in America, like. So
a U.S. branch of smartdoll, basically for production,
which would probably solve this as well, and maybe and allow them, and maybe he can get away from doing drops as much, and maybe it's like, or that we just are able to keep more stock of things, so that drops aren't. Right now, drops are his stock for the week, like basically, other than like the frontline girls. So maybe the frontline girls, more people could become, just around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think he's still trying to recover from the huge surge in popularity that smartdoll had.
Yeah.
Because it used to be that it was very niche, but then I don't know exactly what happened, but it was suddenly like everybody wanted a smartdoll, and then COVID.
Yeah.
sort of happened.
Wait, which one first from your recollection?
From the way I remember it, it was just before COVID is when, suddenly the doll community went, wait, these smart dolls are here and they're staying. And then COVID happened, so he had his stock, it got depleted over COVID, and then he couldn't restock it enough because things were shut down, and, he didn't want to, harm his workers. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. So, yeah, we came in about that time, so it's hard for, we don't know. We didn't really experience I can't remember whether he closed down after or he was already closed down for the shop since we joined. But I can't remember, it was 2 years ago, so
I don't think the store was open when we started collecting.
Yeah. Anyway, that is well, let's is there anything else that you want to talk about, Lizzie, in terms of the pear-shaped names, of course, but what should we call this? And I would like to point out, sorry, before you say that, is I put in the thumbnail thick or curvy, and I would just like to point out that, like, probably one of the biggest issues with naming here is the connotations of a lot of these names just aren't great, and they mean different things to different people. For instance, co-opting thick from the African American vernacular English is not a great thing. It's very, cheeky, no pun intended, internet slang, but it's not really internet slang.
No.
So what, and the other side, so I guess, like, the question I would ask is, what names, like, are out there, and what do we think the problematic issues with them are, and what's the sort of least problematic that we could do?
I mean, I had 3 thoughts for names. One's a bit dumb, but hey. I had abundance, plenty, and cornucopia.
Interesting. I have a problem with most of them, and I'll tell you what that problem is. They sound like doll names.
This
is a name of a body type, I think. So, and we, if not, then we may need both. Like, we may, like, if it's just one doll, I guess I've been thinking of it as, like, there's Smart Doll Plus, there is Smart Doll, anime, semi-real. It's like a category, versus, because without a face, I don't think we can do a name.
I went
aerodynamically curvaceous.
I said call it the Clotho body, because Clotho being the maiden portion of the Fates, the fertile woman, the fertile young woman. But of course, you could always go with Lachesis, who is the mother.
Yeah, I'd say the mother would be a good one.
Yeah, so it's like if it's a name of somebody like that, having it somebody that's not likely, like, it's not like his naming strategy, right, for the dolls. So it sort of stands on its own. We know plus size is out just because Smart Doll Plus. What do you think of shape, naming it after shape? So a Smart Doll Pear.
Because I don't know if that translates well across all, like, languages, because in England you'd know what that was, and in America you'd know what that was, but does that also then work in, like, Japan or Korea or China or other parts of Europe?
True.
Like, I think that's quite a, like, European, like, UK American term for body shapes.
Barbie Witch said Aphrodite. Lee said Venus de Milo. Popovi, I believe it is, uses Venus for one of their body types, which is a more curvy body type.
Yeah,
I would say if he didn't already have a Gaia, I would say use Gaia. The Mother Nature body, basically. The Gaia body.
I mean, what about statuesque?
That implies tall, though. And she's actually shorter than...
And it's too long. Too many syllables.
The Reuben body?
Yeah, Reuben is interesting. Like, I like the obscure names.
Reuben is a guy's name, though.
And so it makes me think of Paul Rubens, which is just like, no, this is not the Pee Wee Herman body.
Isn't it also a sandwich?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
like
my favorite
Barbie
sandwich.
Witch says Gaia is good. I think Gaia would be perfect if it weren't for the fact that there was a Gaia Smart Doll.
Yeah. The one that I like, and again, this is going away from the, like, names with meanings thing, Smart Doll Deluxe or Smart Doll Luxe. Just, it's better, or there's more, or whatever than the other one, but not riding so much into it's about the shape of it, or it's about whatever.
Smart Doll Luxe implies glamorous, too. Like...
Yeah, I thought luxe, doesn't that mean light or something?
No, luxurious.
Okay.
And typically, lux, yes, in like technical terms, lux is, I believe, a measurement of light and things like that scientifically, but in like cultural terms, lux would refer to luxurious.
I like Kathy Coney's more to love body.
It's just, you know what? The way he's been naming things lately, it's not, it could work. Everything to somebody. Everything to somebody body.
You could call it the bombshell body.
Oh,
yeah, bombshell's a good...
kind of liking that. The
especially goes with the
bombshell
fact that
body.
he modeled it off of Hilda, and that's like the whole bombshell, and like it all works together.
And I like that we're not attaching it directly to Hilda's name, which could be issues anyway, but like, you know, it'd be one thing of calling a doll modeled after it Hilda, but I think the actual label for the...
So when he's making, but now he's working on the bombshell shell.
Oh no, now you broke it. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't
still
work.
works. Yes, it does.
I can totally see that working for Danny. I can see him like saying that, the bombshell shell.
The bombshell shell. Okay, yeah.
You could say that she's coming out of her shell.
Yeah, well, okay, and it's the bombshell vinyl shell.
Barbie which says cherry bomb.
Yeah. Buxom body. I like that.
I think bombshell is the best name we've landed
Bombshell
on so
body.
far.
I am digging that. Angel Kitty says plush body, and I think that has way different connotations than
You'd think, yeah, like it's gonna be furry.
it's going to be furry, and it definitely would be like. Well, I mean, if it's all soft, then it would work. But yeah, it needs to be like just covered in, like he needs to flock it. It's just covered.
Oh no!
I know. I just gave people with like like sensation disorders like a nightmare.
Are we having like the Merkin body then?
Get the Merkin body. Yep,
Okay,
that's done.
Moving on. Bombshell, Danny. Bombshell body.
Yeah, let's not throw a bombshell on this.
We came to party all night long. Let's sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our zone. Making plans so as we go. Where we dance when no one knows just how we want it. We want it. Going left, going right. Doesn't matter tonight, just how we want it. We want it. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. The night is young, don't need anybody else. We came to party all night long, and we don't need no chaperone. We don't need nobody's attention, yeah, we just wanna dance on our own. We came to party all night long, and sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our zone.
every time. It's just like Lee said it in the chat. It just keeps getting better and better. Everyone keeps leveling up their pictures every week.
MDK dolls, probably my favorite.
The band,
batch.
that photo, yes.
Yep.
I've got like hairband music stuck in my head now.
And of course, they were creators chosen, weren't they?
Yes, they are on the creators page.
Mm-hmm.
I realized in all of our issues, you know what? I think we're gonna forego the Q&A because it is very late and it has been a fantastic ride. But
why don't we give everybody like a minute if they have a question to put it right in the chat, and we'll ask it rather than going to do.
All right, so we've got 5 minutes. Are you good with that, Lizzie?
Yeah, I'm good. It's fine.
All right. So a couple of questions we'll take before we head out here. The one I see right off the top here is, yes, of course, Lee, thank you for reminding me that W. Corden struck again the super chat, super smarty party ninja. I was just saying during the super chat that we need to get you to change your YouTube avatar to like a Chitose ninja. Kelly asked if there's any new products dropping at her shop. The only thing that going, oh, thank you, Tempest Strife. That's very lovely. And thank you for the reminder. Tempest Strife wants us to remind everybody that they are in the Northeast. Everyone in the Northeast should come out to the Thy Geekdom Con at May 26th through 28th. And hang out. It's sort of a broader convention. It's not too doll focused, but there's going to be some people there.
Yep. So far, we know that Shizu-san will be there. We are going to be there.
It's in Philadelphia, by the way.
Magical Girl Kit Kat and Ben are going to be there. And Tempest Strife is going to be there. And Corey and Anna from Kitten Cat Shop are also going to be there.
It's really like, on the doll side of things is low key. Just come hang out. Like if you want to go, we'll be there. I think, but there will be a table, so we'll be around.
Just trying to bring the dolls like out into the communities where people would appreciate them. And this con is video games and anime and role playing games and tabletop games and all different kinds of stuff like that.
Yep.
So
I might buy a plane ticket.
Well, we'd love to see you.
You want to take that one?
Mika7 asks, since Danny has medical items and girls with conditions, what other things you guys would like to, what would we like to see?
So beyond, I think there's just going to be more of that. I'm not sure of what I would like to see more. Okay, so I'm just thinking along, like you're asking about medical things and, they have dolls with differences and things like that. The only doll that remotely went to do this was is the Kintsugi, the relentless and the whole idea of Kintsugi and repairing things. For me, the disabilities and everything, it's the invisible diseases, and I would be interested to see if, and I think it would be hard, but could he pull off some face-ups that are like anxiety and depression and a little more extreme? I don't know. I mean, not everyone's going to necessarily want that, but there's two ways for me that, like, we talk about relating to dolls, that I can relate to a doll, and it's that either they're giving me something that I need, like they're giving me the you can do it attitude or whatever, or they're or they, I don't really see that. It's like the sad girls is what I gravitate towards sometimes, of just somebody who represents, how you feel on the inside, some like sort of bringing that out a little bit.
I think, I know we talked about doing tattoos, and I would like to see tattoos that reference some of those conditions that you are talking about. You know, like, you know, people get the semicolon and stuff like that. I would like to see those available on dolls. You know, anything, things that represent those conditions would probably be good. I personally had a hysterectomy in December. I wish there was some way to represent that in doll form. I'm not sure what it is, you know, but, you know, maybe as a tattoo, that would be kind of cool. Like some sort of representation of that would be really neat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think, because, like, he's covering most of the really visible ones until you get into some of the more niche ones, which I think representing in doll form could have connotations that might not work terribly well. Things like autism and Down syndrome and that sort of thing, which there should be dolls that look like that, but...
Yeah, I suggested a while back that he should do Down syndrome, because that is actually a different face.
But it is also a very fine line to walk of getting it right. So he might be working on it behind the scenes and just isn't ready to share because the backlash if it's wrong could be big.
Yeah.
But I quite like the mental, like, afflictions, like, as you say, depression, anxiety, all the other sorts that are out there, because there's so many.
I would like some... I kind of would be interested in... I don't know how you would do this, and maybe it's something that attaches or something, but I would like... We've got the whole magnet thing, and maybe there's like an invisible vinyl thing. I would like an emote thing for the dolls. Like, put the
like
angry...
sweat drop.
Yep. The sweat mark, the anger thing, you know.
The blue
yeah.
embarrassment, mortified thing.
It would likely have to be some sort of like clear plastic thing that then has like a clear, you know, it has a
like a
thing in
visor
front,
type thing.
and it has, yeah, it sort of comes back here and latches on, but, or maybe it slips under.
I have a Nendoroid that has a little flower that is literally, it's a plastic flower with a strip of clear plastic, and it slots in between where her hair joins. So you could do it so it goes under the head cap.
That's an interesting idea, yeah.
I'm going to take another question. City Pop Vibe says, has Danny hinted at a drop for Transcendence? That they were very sad that they missed the gray, you know, prototypes that dropped. Yes, Transcendence is coming. In gray and in cinnamon. He's shown her in cinnamon. She looks great in cinnamon.
We've seen Coco.
We've seen her full body in cinnamon with you know, drinking her cup of blood. And he did hint that the next gray drop was going to have fangs. So
yeah, so gray at the least is coming soon, and yeah, there was literally 4 of those dolls, just to be clear. So
you didn't actually miss Transcendence. You missed some prototypes that he had.
Yeah, you haven't missed anything yet. And I will just return to there.
Yeah, and also with the greys, as Danny said, he likes them a lot. And judging by reactions in the Discord and online, the Vampire Girl is going to be ridiculously popular.
Yep. He always gets into like these things where like, I'm going to try this ridiculous thing like making fangs. And it's like, God, it's really annoying to do, but oh my God, it's so good and it's going to be so popular. Like, and it's just, we're never going to be satisfied.
I was commenting on Danny's thing about FOMO, now that you've got that back up there, that he said something like, maybe I need an affiliate program where I give rewards to people who convince people not to buy smart dolls. And I didn't comment on it at the time, but I'm like, Danny, I guess we have to start paying you. Every time you sell a smart doll, we have to pay you.
A reverse commission.
I mean, the thing about FOMO is that, have you really missed out? Because, yeah, okay, you might not have got that doll, but there's lots of other options.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't have them all. Like, so you cannot have them all.
I think Danny is the only one that can have them all.
Yes, technically. Yeah. Okay. Someone had to bring it up. I was talking about invisible diseases, and somebody City Pop Vibe said well, Comey is a representation. You have characters who can represent the those conditions because you're getting a lot of context because they're a particular character who has an anime or whatever. So yeah, you could always make Comey, Danny.
But he said he's not doing any more licenses. He'd have to only do her as a cosplay.
Yeah, but
I gotta get somebody to make me to realize my Comey now in with all of her heads.
Oh, I'm just envisioning Queen Mombi from Return to Oz. She just got a room full of heads. She takes them off and puts the next one on.
I cannot remember that movie for the life of me.
It was a traumatic thing for me. She's the villain in the movie, and basically her deal is she finds someone with a nice head, and then she cuts their head off and puts it in her magic room so she can just change her head whenever she wants to.
That is disturbing.
Yes.
Okay, I think we've gotten all the questions that we're gonna get because everything has just kept going by. So
yep. I think there was something missed.
For Lil.
Yeah.
For the flashback.
I don't know if I actually ended up really answering the question, but as far as products in the store, I'm working on this. That's all there is currently. Other products, there are products out there. I will be real with you guys. I mean, like I said, we just did our financials. End of the year, we lost $50 on the t-shirt business.
The t-shirt business does not make us that much money.
So the effort put in it's a little bit harder, but in order to make it make money, I have to invest a lot. I got to double down, triple down on it, do more and do a lot of extra work. So I don't know where that's going. Obviously, I'm not getting rid of it. I need to get into... We've got some things coming up that may help with that and may offset it.
There are 3 new products that I looked at available to us to print on. There are blankets and throws, all over, so we can do them all over the towels. There are bucket hats that we can do multiple patterns on. So the crown can be one and the brim can be another and the inside of the brim can be another. And there is a windbreaker that even comes in camo. So we could actually do a Solar Marines camo windbreaker.
Oh, and just some context for the people who are in the UK, and unfortunately we don't ship to the UK or Europe, to that countries, basically. Hiring somebody to manage doing all of that so we can do it would be triple or quadruple the current amount of money we spend just to keep the store running. It's insane. So we may not see that for quite a while until the community has grown so much and the t-shirts are taking off, but we will still be trying to give out some t-shirts and things as gifts here and there, and we can personally I can personally send you a shirt, but I just can't charge you for it through the the store. So taxes suck. That's the moral of the story. Or I should say, bureaucracy and taxes suck.
Yay! What a way to end the show! Bureaucracy sucks!
Stop the FOMO!
Cute comes in life, kids.
So thank you, Lizzie, for joining us.
Let's just take a quick pick before we go. Tell everybody where they can keep up to date with what you're doing.
So as you can see down here, Redhead's Ramblings is my tag on social medias: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Don't have a lot of things on there, but I mostly stream on Twitch, so yeah, come check out. Hang out, it's chaos and nothing ever goes right, but hey, that's the point.
And she's one of our active people on our Discord, so you can join her there as well.
Yes, and speaking of it's chaos and nothing ever goes right, this has been a very, very lovely time, both personally and technically, having you on the show. And I can't wait to do it again. Thank you, Lizzie, so much. And thank you, everyone out there.
That's all for us.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.